Hello, ladies. Hello. Welcome back to another segment of She Moves Monday. We are here with Tisa Silvers. Let's give her a She Moves welcome, ladies. Give her a She Moves welcome. And I do just want to make sure that you guys can hear us okay. So if I can get some comments letting us know that you can hear us and that we sound good and that we look good. I'm excited about today.
Me too. And we look good. We know that already.
We do. I'll answer for y'all. We do look good. So, okay, so we got the okay. And thank you guys so much for tuning on and watching. I'm excited about this segment. I do believe that all of you are going to leave with something. I just know that by the end of this segment, you guys are going to be motivated and inspired to just move on. Anything that's been kind of sitting still, that you've been kind of letting time dwindle off. After this segment, my hope is that it'll give you some motivation to kind of get moving and started on those things. So, Tisa, I'm going to start off by just reading a little bit about you, okay? Mm-hmm. So, Tisa Silvers is an educator, she's a philanthropist, and an award-winning author of the book, The Time Value of Life. She has a passion for inspiring others to become lifelong learners and community servants. She's a highly regarded public speaker known for her clear, concise delivery and nurturing teaching style. Tisa has gained praise for her ability to decode the language and dynamics of investing, transforming seemingly complicated topics into relevant and tangible insights for everyday use. Tisa is also the founder and managing director of Silver-Canady and Associates LLC, which is an educational research consulting and events firm based in Maryland. Tisa, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, and thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. And just like your bio stated, well, one of them, because you have so much stuff that's going on, but like your bio stated, you do have this ability to kind of take those complicated financial terms and somehow in your book, you were able to kind of twist it and kind of make it something that's relevant and personable. And I love that.
Oh, thank you. For so long, I think people have felt like this language of investing and money in Wall Street is supposed to be reserved for some exclusive group. And the truth is, it's really not that difficult to understand. It's kind of like, for some people who watch Grey's Anatomy, when you start listening to people talk about CCs and I need this stat and all of that stuff, you pick it up. And it's not like you could go perform surgery, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You feel like you're a part of it, you're in the know. And it's the same way with money. The more you're exposed to it, the more you learn. And hopefully the more you learn, the more you can apply what you've learned to your own personal life.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, Tisa, in your first chapter, in chapter 1, and hello, I see everyone coming on and commenting, hello, come on in. I know I'm getting a couple of messages. People are kind of, I don't know if maybe it's like hidden in the group, but search through, find it. Tune in. If you come in too late, check the replay. But Tisa, you started chapter 1 with these questions, right? And I'll say the question because I have them in front of me. And okay. Those of you who are watching, when I read these questions, I kind of want you to answer them, right? So if you want to answer them in the comments, answer them in the comments, okay? If you just want to answer them to yourself, answer them to yourselves. But we're kind of just going to talk about first the difference between how you value time and how you value money, right? So the first question is, would you lend money to someone, right? Like, would you lend money to someone? And my answer to that is yes. I do it all the time. I'm always, I do it all the time. So that's the first question. Mm-hmm. The second question is, and you know what, Tisa, I'm just going to pause real quick because I'm getting some people that kind of want to get in, and I want to make sure that they're able to get in.
Take your time.
Thank you. And then I also want to... Okay, bear with me, ladies. I'm sorry. Okay. And let me just make sure. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back. So the first question was, would you lend money to someone? Okay, we got that. The second question is, would it matter who that someone was? Right? Tisa, like, would it matter? So I'm assuming, is it a stranger? Is it like a close person? Like, does that, determine who you'd lend your money to? And I'm assuming the answer to that would be yes for many of us. Right? Okay, the next question is, would you expect to be repaid more than the amount you loaned? Meaning, do you want interest? Do you ask for interest on your loans? And I mean, my answer to that is no, I never do. Okay, so, and the next question is, would it matter how long that someone took to repay the loan? Would it matter how long that someone took to repay the loan? Yeah. I think it would, right? Sometimes, I guess, depending on the person, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. All right, so people are commenting, and they're like, yes, it does matter. No. Okay. So now I'm going to do the second set of questions. Okay. And those questions, and it's kind of like a flip on the money question, right? So now we're saying, would you give someone your time? Would you give someone your time? Right? And
most yes.
We do, right? Okay, and I want to know. And guys, answer. I guess there's four questions. So answer, put like the number, the question that you're answering, and then the answer. Because I'm seeing like yes, but I can't tell which
question it is. Okay. Yeah.
So, and now in regards to time, would it matter who that someone was? Does it matter who that someone is that you're giving your time to? Right? And then, would you expect anything in return? When you give your time to people, do you ever expect anything in return? And then the other part of that is, would it matter how long that someone took to repay you for your time? And I think, Tisa, that's a trick question, right? Would it matter how long that someone took to repay you for your time? Okay, so now that we kind of did that like questionnaire, Tisa, why do you think those questions are so important? Or what do you think those questions reveal about how we value time and how we value money?
I think that with money, there's a tendency to think about things like and time. I'm not so sure about this because this might not work well with the rest of my schedule and what I'm trying to do with my money. And we think more about the future and the plans that we have with that money and how those plans will be disrupted if we turn around and lend it to someone else. Whereas with time, on so many occasions, I know I'm so guilty of this, say it's something happening around the house, it's not, moving the way I wanted to. I just say, I'll do it. Or even on the job, I'll do it just so that things will get done. And after a while, you find yourself doing things and more things and accepting responsibility for things, and everything takes time. So in the case of work, for example, you find yourself worn out at the end of the day because you've done this for that person, done this for this team, done the things you need to do for yourself. And you're like, wow, where did that day go? And it went to a lot of places. And the question that I really want people to think about is, what happened that benefited you? And I don't want to frame it in a way that makes it say, well, I'm not going to give you time because I'm not getting anything out of it. I don't want it to be framed as a selfish kind of discussion. I want people to look at it as more of an investment. If I take my time, if I sacrifice my time to do this for that person or for some big purpose, what am I going to get back in return? And it doesn't mean money. It could mean that you've made somebody's life easier by what you've done. It could be some appreciation. It could be that your extra effort leads to a promotion in the future. All of those things remain to be seen. But it's just that when you think about time, the way that you think about money, you ask more of those questions up front before you just go all willy-nilly giving your time to people.
That is so true. Can someone write that in the comments, like #invest your time?
Yes.
Right? It's like thinking about time as an investment. And I think that's so important. And I feel like Tisa, I normally do that because I like my time. Like, I'm an introvert. So I'm introverted, so I think that kind of comes naturally to me only because giving my time to other people kind of draws so much out of me. Like it's kind of like a lot of work. So I am very careful about who I give my time to, I think, for the most part. But there's also things that we do. And even, I mean, a lot of people aren't like me, right? I think a lot of people do kind of just, they're social and time kind of, drifts away. And I'm guilty of that too, just not with other people. I'm guilty of just letting my time being in my own head. And when you look at time as an investment and time as, well, exactly. And I'm kind of jumping into the next topic, which is what you talk about as time being sort of this, it's like it's not renewable. Like once it goes, it's gone, right? And let me just, and that's what we talked about is the difference between time and money.
Exactly. With the money, it's like, you lose $1 if you make a bad loan to somebody for $1, you just get another $1. It's no big deal. But if I give somebody, let's say 3 hours of one of my Saturday mornings and, there's really nothing good coming from it, I'm not getting that 3 hours back and I have nothing really to say for it. And I don't want people to think like every single minute of the day has to be so deliberate. You got to make sure that every minute you're going to get something out of it. Like that's not realistic. Everything in moderation. But at least just think about the time that you invest in other people versus the time that you invest in yourself and things that are going to be for your own betterment.
That's so true. There's a popular phrase that people say, time is money, right? Time is money. And I think a lot of people, we take that, you're like, time is money. But really, as your book so lovely explained, is that time is not equal to money, right? Time is not equal to money. And there's a few different ways that you said that it's not. And what we were just talking about, like you said, money is renewable, right? It's replaceable. Like you said, you loan your money out or you spend your money, or not that we should be spending our money on, just wasteless things, and we'll get to that. But it's something that can renew your time. Well, first of all, you can't lend time like you can lend money. Right? No one can give you back your time. So so I think that kind of, in summation, just kind of talks about the difference between time and money. And while so many of us are kind of pressed on the money, right? Like we grind and it's like that hustler, like, that boss hard mentality. But really the money can come and the money will come and go, which I think a lot of us know that already. But your time,
it only goes.
It only goes.
Yeah.
It only goes. So, and we said this in the beginning, but you said don't spend your time, invest it, right? And you talk about in your book, and if you guys are just jumping on, the name of the book is The Time Value of Life. It is awesome, and it goes even deeper than what our conversation is going to go today, because she does kind of tackle the more like the financial aspects of it, and she has even like an equation, and she breaks it down like so great. It's like awesome. So I did put the link in the comments to the book. I also gave you guys the link to her website, so definitely make sure you check it out. But we talk about treating time like a valuable gift. And there's a quote in your book, and it says, "A good investment of time will bring you rewards far greater than you can imagine. Time well invested can lead to value far greater than monetary investment ever could." Right? And then you go into that time is worth, well, there's another quote, and it says, "Your time is worth something, or your sacrifice is worth something, and that something is interest." Can you unpack that a little bit, Tisa, about...
That's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chapter that was about volunteering. And I started a nonprofit organization in 2007. It's called the Good Works Coalition. And we used to go into high schools and meet with young women to talk to them about things like searching for jobs, dating, money management, anything random, like questions that they had about anything at all they could ask us, because we made sure there was a safe space. And years later, I had, some of the girls come back and say, oh, I just wanted to tell you, I made the decision to go to the military because you told us, we need to do something with our lives after high school. Or, I made the decision, I dumped that guy you said was bad news and did this, whatever else. All these different things. Yeah, you start to listen to it and think, wow, like, so whatever it was that young lady experienced in that room that day led her to change her mind about something that is going to change the trajectory of her life. So long after I'm gone, like, I know that something that I was a part of doing changed someone else's life and possibly several generations, in their family for the better. And that's something that I absolutely could never put a price on. So when it comes to time, I can't say, well, I invested this 1 hour and I'm 50% better for it, like I could with an investment. But I can say, you know what? I value making people's lives a bit more pleasant. I value giving people information that can help them make better decisions. And if I've done that, then that's time well invested.
Right. That's awesome, Tisa. And when you talk about that, I feel like, now we're really moving into some of that stuff. Like what she said, how much time do we waste? Right. And we might not look at it in the concept of time, which is why I feel like this segment is so important, because we waste time in relationships.
Yes.
Right. I think that's so important. We waste time in relationships. We waste time in saying like, okay, that goal that I have, that dream to lose weight. And me and Tisa were talking about this before we jumped on, right? I didn't go to the gym. That's time wasted and time that I can't get back, right? And how many of you have dreams or a book idea or a business plan or a nonprofit or something that you've been sitting on because you keep on saying, okay, time, I have time, right? Or maybe you don't say I have time. Maybe you say, okay, I'm going to get to that later.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. And so
that's actually what inspired the book. I had actually started writing the book about, I think it was like 2005, and it was just supposed to be a book about making personal finance easier to understand for people. But I kind of, got scared. I was like, oh, if I write a book, who's going to read a book? I'm young. Who's going to listen to me? What do I know? And I just kind of pushed it off to the side. And then, like in the beginning of the book, I talked about suffering a loss, a very traumatic loss. And after that, it just made me think like, wow, if something like this can happen to somebody that I love and somebody who is very young at the time, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just sitting around making all these excuses for not doing what was in me to do. So once I finally sat down and made the decision and said, I'm going to write this book, and if I can't get anybody to publish it, I'll publish it myself. It took me 3 weeks. So I sat and waited for 3 years. 3 years, talk about a waste of time. 3 years, just in fear, pushed pause for no really good reason, but something had to happen to spark it, to make the book what it was supposed to be. So 3 years later, I buckled down. Took me 3 weeks. All those excuses about not having enough time, not being able to focus, out the window, because once the decision was made, it was done.
That's so true. And we always talk about that. We talk about it being a decision, right? And today we're talking about the time, right? So putting those together, there's a sense of urgency that you should take when it comes to your dreams, your goals, your aspirations in life. It's not something that you should be sitting on. It's a sense of urgency. And Tisa in the book, and I'm telling you guys, you know what? I'm gonna host a giveaway of the book only because I am Tisa. That's okay with you because it's such an awesome book. And Tisa, what she was just explaining, because in the book, and I'm not gonna give too much away because I want you guys to read it, but she talks about how she experienced the loss and how that triggered her to kind of, she kind of got, because I think that happens a lot when you lose something or you recognize someone lost or you see someone die young. It makes you look at time all of a sudden as valuable. And I think that's such an interesting concept. And that's why I love how you tied it into the book, because if you've ever gone through that, all of a sudden you look at your time like, wow, it's here one day and it's not there the next day. And not that any of us should have to experience loss to kind of trigger into our dreams and our goals. But if you can look at it this way, right? And if you look at it in how we all, and all of us are guilty of it, myself included. I'm sitting here because I'm in front of the camera, so I get to talk. But we all do this. We all wait. And Tisa said something she waited 3 years for, she got done in 3 weeks. And if you read the book, you'll see how amazing that even is in itself. But that's what the whole point of this is. And someone wrote, I'm so guilty of procrastinating. I'm choosing to make the change to put my dreams into action. Yes.